Okay, the paper has been glued to the piece of wood. The instruction will be on your pattern packet, and I traced the basic lines that separate colors, and I'm gonna show you how to trace. You're gonna have to copy your pattern on a piece of vellum paper, and you're gonna position the butterflies where you want them on your piece. You do not have to have the paper. I'm gonna give you an instruction, a blue color that you can put on your background. I like this paper because it has butterflies, and I'm going to paint also the flowers in here. But if you do not want to buy the paper, you can paint a coat of a turquoise color that I will tell you which. And what I like of this paper is that it has scrolls, and it also have lettering. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna show you what you can do if you want to do your own the surface. Instead of putting a paper, you can make a surface to resemble this. Put some stamps, butterfly stamps, and paint them. Okay, so I position my butterflies, and you're gonna take a piece of white graphite paper. This is non-wax white graphite paper, which you're gonna position the white section down and the cream section to the top, and you're gonna position that underneath your vellum. You're gonna put the vellum with tape so that it doesn't move, and you're gonna take a stylus. You're gonna take a stylus and you're gonna go over lightly over all the lines, and in the first time that you're gonna trace only the lines that I'm showing you in here. And the reason why is because it's gonna be easier. See, this is one of the butterflies, and this is the other one. It's gonna be easier if we do it this way. We're gonna paint, and then after we have painted the first coat, then I'm gonna reposition the vellum, which you're gonna be able to see where to put it, and I'm gonna trace again the inside lines. I was looking at the photo, and I noticed that I left a line, two lines that divide colors in here, and since it has not painted yet, it's gonna be very hard to put back your pattern. So I want to give you a tip on how to fix that problem if that happens to you. For example, my pattern is on vellum, but to position the pattern back again is going to be very difficult with the vellum because I don't see where the lines are. So what I did was I printed my pattern on a completely transparent paper. This is a transparency paper, and you can take it to any copy place and you ask for a transparency, and now I can see exactly where the lines of the butterflies are, and I can reposition it exactly where it should be, and then I will be able to put the lines in the correct place. So this is another tip that I wanted to give you. Okay, so I want to show you now the lines that are in place. You see the lines that I created there because I want to put a different color in here. So those are the lines that you are going to put. I'm going to be using today brushes by Dynasty. These are Black Gold by Dynasty. Let me find one that doesn't have a sticker. Black Gold by Dynasty, and they are the series 206S. These are the ones that I like to use for acrylics. They are a little bit longer than the one that I like to use for oils. And they're fantastic brushes because they hold a very good chisel edge. And we are going to be using Deco Art Americana paints. These are Deco Art Americana paints, and this is one of the new color Pistachio Mint, and these are Deco Art Americana acrylic paints. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that I'm gonna use is I'm gonna wet my brush. I have a bucket with water, and I'm gonna wet my brush in the water, and I will remove the season of new brushes. This is a new brush, and you see what I'm doing. I like to pinch the brush, and that will give it again a very chisel edge. Okay, I am shaking my bottle before I put it on my palette paper, and this is going to be pistachio mist. This is a gadget that I have, and you can get that at any of the paint stores like Lowe's or Home Depot, and it's for mixing paints and opening cans of paints, and it's excellent to open your bottles. And I'm gonna put this color on my palette, and what I'm gonna do is with this flat brush that I just showed you, I'm gonna base coat these sections, and it is important that you do not leave big ridges of paint. So you're gonna apply a smooth coat of this, and this is probably too large of a brush. This is a size number 8. I'm gonna drop down on brush size, and I'm gonna take a smaller size, maybe a number. This is a number 5. They have size 5, so this is a number 5, and I'm removing the water, and I am applying this base coat of color in here of the pistachio mist in this section. You may want to move the board so it's comfortable for you. And we will have to do several coats of this color, but I just want to show you the first one. I'm going to do the second coat out of the camera. I'm going to show you one side of this butterfly because both sides are going to be done the same way. I'm going to put this color all the way down here. You follow the line that you have in there. Have to leave it to dry before you put the second coat, and don't continue messing with it. The first coat is not gonna look too pretty. Just leave it like that, and then you do the second section on the other side. Okay, and you have to leave it to dry in between the layers, because if you start putting a second layer, you see you start making holes on your piece. So leave it to dry, and then you come back and do another coat, and do as many coats as you need until you have a very smooth coverage of this pistachio mint. Okay, clean your brush, because now we're gonna you go to the bottle, to the container with water, and you are cleaning your brush in there and removing all that paint, and then you pinch it and remove the water with your fingers. Okay, so we're gonna go now to our next color, and it is Bahama Blue, also by Deco Art Americana, and we're gonna put this on our palette. And this is the color, the Bahama Blue. It's the color that we're gonna put in this section. And we are going to again put several coats of this color, and try not to make any ridges. You see, I go over and over again, so I make sure that I don't have any ridges. So I'm going to put this color in this section in here and in this section in here, and I will be right back. I am on my first coat of this color, so you know where it goes. And now I'm gonna go to do several coats, but I will have to tell you, these other two sections are with this same color, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna leave a small section unpainted in between both of this color, so you know where the separation of these two sections go. So you're gonna paint this section and this section, but you're gonna leave what they call a sheet mark that you're gonna leave in between both of them, so that you know where it starts and where it ends, and you don't have to put your tracing your line back in those two places. We're gonna shade, and after we have shaded or put a black line in there, it's gonna be covered. Okay, so this only have one coat of color, and I'm gonna do several more coats, but before I do that, I'm gonna show you the other two sections that I left are gonna be painted with black, and I don't think I need to show you that. You're gonna paint with black this section in here and this section in here, the body in black. There are two legs in here and here, and the antennas. I'm gonna do that, and when I return I'm gonna show you, and you can wait if you want to see when I return where I paint them to do it yourself. Okay? And the good thing is that this paper has been sealed. It had been sealed before starting to paint, because right now I drop water on top of it. So make sure that you have sealed your paper before you start doing this. I want to show you something else. I'm going to go now to do my second coat on this one. And I want to show you that I have a ridge there. And what you do is you're going to take, this is a 400 sandpaper. And I'm going to wet it, lightly wet it. I'm going to use this sandpaper to remove or sand down that ridge. And then I can apply my second coat. So this butterfly is at the base coat stage, and I drop down the brushes to size 3 and 1 to do the body of the butterfly. I use a liner for the antennas and for the legs, and this we're gonna leave this to completely dry before we start doing something else. But this is the base coat stage of the butterfly, and now we're gonna move on to the other butterfly that we have at the bottom, and we're gonna start base coating this one. And this butterfly, it is going to be base coated mostly. We're going to base coat it completely. This butterfly is gonna be completely base coat with black, but we are going to leave some separations between the two sides of the wings. So you're gonna base coat it completely, but you're gonna leave some sheet marks so you can know where the different sections are. So the piece is at the base coat stage. I'm gonna take another picture of this for you, and I will be right back. We are gonna do the next stage on this butterfly, and the next color that we're gonna use is another color called peacock teal, and we're gonna start shading first. We're gonna shade first with peacock teal. First of all, I'm gonna show you how I float. Different artists float different way, and we have some videos at the video library that shows you how to use the liner and how to float. This is the way I float. I dip my brush into, and I'm gonna use this very large brush. This is a size number 20, and I'm gonna dip the brush into the water. Then I'm gonna come with my fingers and I'm gonna pinch and remove the excess water, and this is the amount of water that I'm gonna leave on my brush. I'm gonna take a corner and I'm gonna put it in the paint, and then on this palette paper I'm gonna work my brush, and I'm gonna work it on both sides, this side and this other side. The time you spend in this palette paper is important because that way it gives time for the paint to move across the brush. Now I'm gonna go to my piece and I'm gonna use that float on my piece. I'm gonna start by floating in here, and I'm going to walk this color. And what I mean by walking is that I'm putting it and I am extending it going down so that it goes to the end of this. Do not worry if you have marks. It doesn't matter in this type of painting because we're gonna put other things on top. We're gonna put black lines on top. I'm still walking around and I'm trying to walk it on up to the end. Since I am almost out of paint, then the last section is not going to be as dark as the first section. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but I'm going to reload my brush and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to work the brush on my palette on both sides before I bring it to my surface. And then I'm gonna go on the other side. I'm not gonna do this side yet because I'm waiting to this side to dry. And I'm gonna do the same thing. This is a beginner piece, so we're gonna try to do a few steps only on this butterfly and still make it very pretty. So I'm walking it. Do not worry about the black because you can always go back and redo the black. But if it's still wet, you can take it. So I'm going to leave it like that. Don't touch it. It doesn't matter if some areas are lighter. That's going to be good for your butterfly. Now, instead of doing this section, I'm going to go to this section because that section already has some time to dry. Again, I'm going to work my brush on the palette paper, and I'm still using the same side because it had not dried, so I'm still using that same loading zone. And I'm going to go in here and do exactly the same thing. I'm going to start in this section and I'm going to walk it down. And do not worry if this section turns darker. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to put some on that section too. Okay, now I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to go now to the next one. Again, I need to reload my brush. And you know what? My brush is getting thirsty. And you know why I know that? Because it's starting to separate, so I'm going to clean my brush. You see, I'm cleaning it. Even though I put some color in there, I'm cleaning it. Again, I'm going to pinch it with my fingers, remove the excess water, and then I'm ready to go inside of here and work it. And I'm going to go to this other side and start in this section. Make sure you watch all the videos that we have in the video library because they are for you. And it doesn't matter that I put some on top of that because that is the next step. We are going to, with this same color, we are going to and that's probably too much. So I'm gonna remove some of this on a paper towel. It's better if we don't have that much. And work some of these on this section. And that was probably too much, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna remove it with a paper towel. And I'm gonna make sure that I only have a small amount of these. So instead of loading in there, I'm just gonna take some from that loading zone and I wanna put it in here. That's okay, because we're gonna apply again the color that we have on top. Do not worry about anything. Everything can be fixed. Again, I am loading on that loading zone instead of instead of the paint, and I am just dirtying some of the edges in here. See that I clean it had too much, so I clean it with my brush. Just to put some of these. If you have too much, take your paper towel. We're gonna do more things in here, do not worry. Take your paper towel and like that, and I think that has enough for now. We're gonna leave this dry before we go to the next step. So let's leave this dry, and while it is drying, I'm gonna take another picture for you. The next color that we're gonna use is called Victorian Blue, and we are going to also use this to shade the same way we did the other one, Victorian Blue. It's gonna cover a smaller section than what we did, okay? Let's start. Again, this is a float. I'm gonna bring a different color in here, and it's not going to go all the way down. I'm trying to cover now the graphite lines that I left. So I'm loading my brush and putting this color. And I'm gonna do the same on the other section, but more into the center again. It's a float of color. You remember how you float. And we are putting it in here. Make sure you don't touch the one that is wet, or you're gonna make a mess. So we are floating, and I am still using the same paint that is in the loading zone because I have enough. I don't want to put too much of this color. And by now you should have covered the sheet marks that you left. And that's all I want to do in there. Still, this butterfly has sections of black that we're going to put, and what we're going to do next is apply again some of the lines on the pattern. We're going to leave this to dry, and we're going to apply some more lines, and what I'm going to do right now is take another picture for you. You should be able to reposition your pattern. You should be able to reposition it on top of now with the vellum instead of the transparency. And I'm using the vellum because the vellum is not as thick as the transparency, and I don't have to press as hard. And you're going to trace all the lines again, except for the ones that separate the sections. You don't need, like for example, this line in here. You don't need to separate the sections anymore. You just need to put those lines inside, because now we are going to put the black sections and white sections, and that's gonna be our next step. So now you're going to trace again. That's why I told you from the beginning not to trace any of that detail, because that is going to be traced now. You were supposed to trace only, you see, only the lines that were separating the section. That's what you were supposed to trace, and now you're going to trace the detail that you did not trace before. I forgot to tell you that I'm going to check first, and I will tell you if you can use white. I have not painted this before, so I don't know exactly what color. So I'm just going to put the white first. I know that I cannot use the black on top of the black, but I know that I'm going to try to see if we can use the white on top of these light sections, if they will show on the light sections the white color. So you put again, remember that the lightest section goes underneath. This lightest section goes next to the piece. And let's see. And you are going to trace all these lines. And I want to see if they show. They show in the blue. Let's see if it shows on this one. No, it doesn't show on that one. So only these two sections have to use the black, and the rest you can do with the white. Okay? Okay, so now this step is very easy. The only thing that we're gonna do is paint. Apply paint. So I have now a round brush because I wanted it to fill in this section. And what you're gonna do, and I'm not gonna do everything on camera because it's gonna take too long to do all this in camera. What you're supposed to do is take these small sections that you just painted, traced, and you're gonna base coat them with black. I'm gonna do a few for you. And that's all you're gonna do in this. What we're gonna do now is take all those tiny sections, and they're kind of connect. I left one in here. They kind of connect with the next one. So connect them. They're not going the same direction. You see, this one is going down, up. You have the pattern, so you can follow the pattern. And it seems that I left also that one. So this is what you're gonna do now, and I'm not gonna do all in camera. I'm just gonna put the black section everywhere, and I'm gonna come back and you will see where I put the black, okay? There is also a black line in here. So at this point you can put also that black line and connect it down there. And I lost my photograph. Doing another one for you. There's another one in here. Went back to my smaller liner because that was a small one. See, those are the ones that you're gonna put in there. Now you're gonna go to the next one, and these ones are larger, so I'm gonna change brush to that other liner. It's not a liner, it's a round brush. And because these are skinny, but then these ones tend to be larger, and we're still putting the black. I'm gonna show you a small section, and then I'm gonna leave you, because we don't want to make all the video, very long videos, because you already know what to do. It's just fill in those lines that I put in the pattern for you. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do all the way. This one starts in here. like that, and then it goes like that, like that, and then it goes down in there, and then it goes up in here. Okay, so finish filling the black and we'll be right back. Okay, these black lines are connecting in here, there, and this one connects in here. Okay, so we are going to take a number 5. A number 5 brush, or maybe smaller than that, a number 3 brush. We're going to take a number 3 brush, and we're going to start with the pistachio mint, which was the color that we put in here, and we are going to make lines of this color. We're highlighting this section with lines. We have a tiny bit of the Bahama, which was the color that we put in next to it, so some of the Bahama in there. And you can take that Bahama and shade on the section where it's supposed to have lines. Oops, sorry. And now I'm gonna clean brush, remove the water, and I'm gonna take a saffron yellow, and I'm gonna put a tiny bit of this yellow in here. Lines again, some tiny bit of the yellow, and then I'm gonna go, without cleaning my brush, I'm gonna go into Sunny Day and put another yellow that is even lighter than the other one. I'm gonna clean the brush and just leave it like that. Now I'm gonna do the other side. If you want to, we can take also a tiny bit of this pistachio color, and we can highlight a tiny bit. Oops, and maybe if we want to do that, maybe we should do it with a float. So I'm going to take a small brush. Let's see, I'm going to take a number 8, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the pistachio, and I'm going to do a small float of pistachio in here. And that's probably too strong. Probably has to be mixed with the other color, so I am removing it. I'm just going to remove it and then reapply it with a different color. I'm going to take Bahama Blue with pistachio in the brush, in a number 8 brush. I'm going to blend in my palette those two colors, and I'm going to remove the excess paint on a paper towel, and I'm going to put a highlight in here like that. Since we have that color, we can put a small amounts of highlights here and there in some areas. Not too much. Okay, that's it. That's all we're gonna do in the maybe one more in here. It's looking flat, so maybe there and there. And that's all we're gonna do for now in here. See how pretty that looks? A small amount in the brush. I am not being perfect. Oopsie daisy. We put in here, in here, in here. So small sections of highlight. See that I'm not reloading. I am not reloading the brush, that way I don't have too much left in the brush to put that highlight. So that was a float of Bahama blue and pistachio mint, but I did blot it on the paper towel, and whatever was left was what I put in there. So I'm going to leave that section. I'm going to do this section now, and these 3 sections, and then I'm going to show you the black. I'm going to show you this section, these 2 sections. You see, this section is going to be done the same as that one, and this section is going to be done the same as that one. So I'm going to show you this other section, and then you can do the others on your own. Okay, so all my black lines are done on this section, and I'm going to take this time the Victorian blue, and I'm going to put a tiny bit of Victorian blue in here, in there. Let's see what else. I may put a tiny bit of Victorian blue. In here. And I am not floating, I just have Victorian blue on the brush, and I am putting it in some places. I think that is good. Let's see what we need to do now. Is I'm going to, this is supposed to be a very beginner piece, so I'm not going to do too much, but I am going to take that pistachio plus Bahama blue plus pistachio, and I'm going to do a float, the same I did with the other one, that I did a float, and then I went into the paper towel and I removed part of that float, and whatever is remaining I'm going to use to, and I'm going to highlight it, also making lines like I did with the other one. So making lines. Let me maybe go zoom. I'm gonna do it again so you see what I'm doing. Gonna take this number 8 brush, and I'm gonna take some of the pistachio and some of the Bahama blue. Oops. Got to go back. So I'm gonna take some of the pistachio and some of the Bahama blue, and I'm going to float pistachio and Bahama blue, and float. Then I'm gonna go in the paper towel and I'm gonna remove some of that float. It's gonna be kind of a dry brushing, and now I'm gonna go in here, but I'm gonna make it like lines. That was probably too strong. I have to remove a tiny bit more. I'm just gonna leave it like that. And it's gonna give a tiny bit more of character because we're not gonna do too much in here. And I'm just gonna leave it like that, and I'm gonna take a tiny bit more of a float. I'm gonna float now with the Victorian blue. So I am floating with Victorian blue. Have a float, and let's see, make sure that we have this section in here dark. Sometimes I use my fingers. And I'm going to float in here. Like that. Some of that Victorian blue in there. I'm gonna leave it like that. Now I'm gonna do this section in here, this small section in here, which is just, I'm gonna take pistachio and I'm gonna put pistachio in here, and that probably needs a tiny bit more of, let's see, Bahama blue in there. And then I'm gonna take a light color. Let's take white, or maybe, let's see. Yeah, white. Let's take white. I put white on my same thing. The same brush. I don't know where I did the brush that I was using, but I put it in the water. Okay, so I'm gonna take also white on my brush, and I'm gonna do the same thing, just marks. This time they are this way, so I'm just gonna make marks of the white in there. Let's probably take another brush, a smaller brush. That was number 8. I want to take many brushes because then I have to put them in your instructions. So I'm just going to leave with the 8. And just put the white on the corner of that 8. And this is what we're doing. We're doing like lines. And it's this way, this one is this way, this one is this way, and then this one is this way. Like it's following the shape of the wing. See, that shape in here is like that. So we're gonna take Victorian blue and float. Victorian blue and float, and we're gonna float these sections in here. 1, 2, 3. You can hardly see anything, but let's put a tiny bit in there, and I'm gonna also put some color in here. Just trying to. So that was Victorian blue. Victorian blue. And I'm gonna clean that because the problem is that my graphite was too strong. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the black and do a wash of the black so that I don't see that graphite, and then redo what I did. The graphites were too strong. So I'm gonna leave that to dry. So we're gonna put the eyes, and we're gonna use a liner, a very fine liner, so that we can put them. They're not eyes, but there's some white spot that it has, and I'm using a liner. And I'm just gonna put 4 small dots in here. And then what you're gonna do is that you're gonna rewind the video, and then whatever we did on this, you're gonna do it in here, and you just have to rewind it, and you'll be able to see what we did. I'm gonna take a tiny bit of the the Victorian blue. So this is Victorian blue, and I am floating with a number 8. I just want to separate these sections in here. It's kind of a highlight in there. So I floated here, here, and we already did those. Okay, so I think I'm gonna leave that side. I'm gonna repeat the same thing on this other side. That way your videos are short. Okay, so we finished with this butterfly, and I'm just gonna fix something that I see every time that I put it in the camera. I see something, and it is this in here. So we finished with that butterfly, and now we're gonna do this one. And for that one, this is a mostly black butterfly. We put a lot of lines in here, but probably we're not gonna use them all. What we're gonna do is we're gonna find a coral color, and that's the color that we're gonna put in the lines. I'm gonna try first coral shell to see if that works. And I'm gonna put that color in the lines that are at the top. This butterfly has a tiny bit of orange, so it will be good if we put the coral, and especially that we have some orange in here, and I want to repeat that orange. I'm gonna repeat that orange in these flowers, and it has orange in here. So I'm gonna take a liner and this coral color, coral shell, and I'm gonna go over the lines that I have in here. So the lines. This is a very skinny liner, and it doesn't carry too much color, but it will give you very, very skinny lines. So I'm not gonna be able to put them all with this color, because the other ones we have to put them with gray. The only ones that I see this color are in these big ones. They're big lines. Has another one in here, big line in there. And in here. Probably even too strong, but let's start it with that color and we'll see. And there's another one in here. And this one in here. And this one in here. Okay, so I'm going to show you if your lines have the turn like this. You take a clean brush, and you can make that skinnier like that. Even this one, but I waited too long for that one, but it's still wet. You see, you can still make it a tiny bit skinnier. We have to put a coat of protection, but it's because it's, I didn't show you that well. I was cleaning and it's still wet, and you can clean the lines like that. We'll have to put a coat of protection in here because it seems that you can clean this because it's on top of the paper. So we'll have to put another coat. When we're done, we're going to put several coats of protection. So that's what I'm going to do with those lines. Except for this one in here. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to take the blue, and I'm going to pass the blue on the other lines, and this is the Admiral blue. We have so many blue, I have to tell you which one. The Admiral blue. So I'm going to take the liner with the Admiral blue, and I'm going to pass it through the lines, and I can later on take some of the black, and so that they don't show as good. So I'm going to go over the remainder of my lines, not the circles, the lines, with on top of the graphite with the Admiral blue, and I will be right back. Okay, so now we have the lines, but they are not as strong as they were before. We just want to have, you know, an indication of some lines in there. We are going to take white and a liner, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do, and you're going to do it on your own because there's a lot of white dots which you just have to put in there with a liner or a small brush. And I'm going to show you doing this small one here. And this is probably not, it is too small. So I'm going to just use another liner that is not that small. This is bigger. So I'm just going to fill in these white sections very carefully. But I'm going to do them outside of camera so I can do them very carefully. And if you mess up, like probably I did in there using that small liner, you can take black and clean it. Everything is easy here. It's a beginner class and everything is easy. So you take black and you clean it. There's nothing that cannot be fixed with the. So if you don't know where if you cannot tell from the picture where those dots are, I'm gonna paint them and I'm gonna return. There's some blue. There's some blue one here that you're not gonna do yet, and there's some orange. So only the white ones from the pictures, and we'll be returning because I don't want to spend all huge videos that you have to be watching, because this is something that you can do on your own. So I'm going to do that and I will return. Okay, I put all the white dots. I don't think I left any. Let me just verify if I left any. These ones are complete and this one seems to be complete. Okay. There are some that we're gonna put some of the couverture on top, and those are these ones in here, so I didn't put a second coat of white on them. On the rest, the remainder, I put a second coat. I just want you to show you something, so you should be sure that you do it that way. And it is with the with this, let's see, with these things that you have to have, you have the white and then you have like it's like a curve in there, and I fixed some of mine with black after I have painted the white, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. For example, I have black on my, let me see, in here, make sure that you have this like this in there, like that, and both sides, they should be like that. So once you have the white, make sure you have it goes out like that. I don't know if I'm missing a white in there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm missing a white in there, and I'm gonna put that white that I'm missing in there, and I'm gonna take a very good picture for you. And we're gonna return. We don't have too much left to do with this piece. Okay, so that's what you're gonna be doing. Let's see something. Since we are doing the white, we want the white to dry before we do our next step. Let's work on him and on the center. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna take the white. Let's start from the top. And we're gonna put 2, 1 and 2. Then we're gonna put these things in here with white. Gonna put a white in here, and now we're gonna put a lot of dots in white. And we're gonna follow these. One, I didn't put them because it was gonna be looking too messy. I decided to put them like this, freehand. I don't think you need to have that. Although I don't know if I put the blue on those lines, so before I put those white, I'm gonna take that Victorian blue. I'm gonna take Victorian blue and I'm gonna put it on top of those lines. I wanna have those lines, but they're not supposed to, you're not supposed to see them that well. So let's cover all those lines with the Victorian blue. And after you cover those lines with the Victoria blue, then you can continue, since we have the white still fresh, and you're gonna start putting these and they get bigger, so they get bigger. And there's another row in here. Another row in there. Same thing in here. And row, the other row. Continue that other row in here. There's another row in this side that can only be seen on this section. And there. There's some white in here. Okay, I think we have enough of those. Then the coral shell. I'm gonna put the coral shell on this section in here. Okay, I'm just gonna take the blue, the Victorian blue, trying to use the same colors that we have used already because I don't want to introduce any more colors. And I'm going to just put this in here. Kind of like highlighting there with the Victorian blue. Covering my graphite. Okay, I'm gonna blend that with the black. It's easier if when you have wet color, when it is wet, it is easier to blend. Back to the Victorian blue and blend in there with the black. Okay, that's it. That's it. This is something easy, not too complicated. Now I'm going to introduce you another brush, and this is a Dawn Round. There's called Dawn Round. This one is Betty Burr Bringle Blender. You see how they are. I'm gonna stipple in here, but we'll do that when we return because I want to first take a picture of the white dots. Okay, this butterfly have two orange circles, open circles. So this is orange flame, very bright orange, because they are very bright. And there's one in here. Oops, this have to be several coats of this color. So I'm putting it one coat and another coat, another one in here. So I'm going to put those in there, give it several coats of this color. You have to dry so I can put more. So while that is drying, I'm going to show you something else. And it is those, you're going to take also, make sure that if you have any lines left after you have finished putting this, like I have done those lines, I have put the pattern incorrectly. So instead of trying to put them incorrectly, I painted it in the right place and those lines are left. So when you're done, make sure that you cover all your graphite lines, because if you try to erase your black is gonna look ugly, like I did on the other butterfly when I erased on top of the black. So I'm gonna show you some. I told you to get a dun brown brush, and it's this kind of funny brush, and I'm gonna stipple. I'm gonna use for stippling in here, and I'm introducing Prussian blue, and I'm gonna stipple in there. Okay, so first I'm gonna stipple Prussian blue, and this is what you do: is you pounce your brush, and you will not see what I'm doing until I put another color. So on top of that Prussian blue, I'm gonna put a Blue Haven before it dries, and it's gonna dry if I don't open this fast. I'm opening some bottles for the first time because they're new colors. Brand new colors. So this is Blue Haven, and I'm gonna stipple Blue Haven on top of this Prussian blue. And let's start. I need a paper towel. I'm gonna wipe on a paper towel instead of using a brush. So I'm gonna start again with the Prussian blue, and on top of that Prussian blue, I'm gonna put this light color. Make sure the Blue Haven is kind of liquid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm wiping it on the paper towel. So Prussian blue first, and then that Blue Haven, which is kind of liquid. On top of this color, I'm gonna put white. But I'm not cleaning my brush. So Prussian blue, then the Blue Haven, then white. And do that on all of those blue marks. So I am stippling a tiny bit of white on top of them, and after I'm done with that, I'm going to reshape. If they're not the shape that I want, I'm going to reshape. For example, they should be oval underneath, so like a semicircle. So you can reshape like this. You can reshape like this underneath. Okay, let's show you this side. How you're going to reshape with black. You're going to take black and you're going to reshape. So I took black and I reshaped, because when you're doing this with the stipple, it might go places where you don't want it to go, so you can always reshape. With that same stipple brush, I'm gonna stipple some of that coral shell to put it back on my palette. So I'm gonna stipple some coral shell on some of the, let's see, I'm gonna stipple, I have to put it like that, this, so that you can see everything that I'm doing. So stipple some coral shell on some of these. Introduce another color, and it's not another color but another something else here in your design, and it's gonna look prettier. Some stippling coral shell on some of these. Okay, I'm gonna dry brush a tiny bit of this coral shell with a paper towel. I'm gonna remove as much as I can, and then I'm gonna dry brush in here. Let's see what I'm doing. In these places that I put that, I can dry brush a tiny bit of this color. I'm gonna put another coat on the orange, and I will be right back. While that orange dries, and we can put another coat, I'm gonna take that same orange and I'm gonna do a float. This is a float, and I'm gonna float this orange on some of these flowers. I should have put the lighter color on the top, not in there. Okay, then I'm gonna do stronger in here, a stronger float. Was first like very light float, and now it is a stronger float. Let's see, the center, I can repeat another color in the center. We have a lot of yellows, so let's take the saffron yellow, and we can put that in the center. We can then stipple some of the sunny yellow. Okay, I'm gonna do that on a few more in here, and I don't want to bring too much attention to these flowers, but I wanted to bring, there was too much white in there, and I wanted to make the orange all flow in the design. Maybe take one of these and make some lines. This is the orange flame, and maybe do some lines. Okay, so I'm going to do another coat of this orange, do some more on these flowers, and I will be right back. Okay, I am going to stipple again some of the, not stipple, dry brush. So dry brush is where you remove, let me go back. Take a paper towel and you remove the excess paint, and then you can put it on the piece. And I'm gonna put it in here. Now I think I removed too much. If you remove too much, you have to do it again. Maybe I'm gonna take a tiny bit of the orange flame with it. And I'm gonna put it in here. This section in here. I'm gonna bring that color okay, and then I'm gonna take my black, make sure I don't have any lines showing like I have one in there, so I have to stipple it again there. Make sure you don't have any graphite lines showing, and clean around all the, for example, all these sections of white. Make sure you don't have any graphite lines showing. You're cleaning around your design, the graphite lines. Make sure that you take all these lines that we did with the Victorian blue, and for example this one in here, and you continue them on until they get to the edge. Make sure that you continue those lines and finish. It will get a finished look. All the lines that you have created with the Victorian blue, make sure you take them all the way down, or all the way up if they need to go up. For example, I can take up in here, connect everything together, all the lines, connect them together. I hope you enjoyed the painting called The Sound of the Butterfly.